As expected on the dollar, CPI has completely decimated the dollar and ran lower. And this uncertainty was to be expected. And now what do we got on the dollar? We've got it running lower, but of course we are not trading the dollar this week. Welcome to Technical Tuesday. My name is Dima, and let's run through the markets, continuing on what we looked at from Sunday. And what we looked at were these pairs, the non-dollar pairs. And what do we have for the rest of this week? Well, we have just had the CPI come out on the dollar. That was the big one for this week. So the dollar is running lower. Let's have a look at tomorrow, Wednesday. We've got CPI on the pound. We've got pound news, more dollar news, but we not really concerned about that. We do have crude oil inventories, so we will look at that because of oil. We've got oil on our shortlist this week, and then later on Thursday also Aussie and pound and euro. And the main one will be pound for tomorrow, going into the next day. Let's have a look at what we have. Let's have a look at what we have on our shortlist. We do have pound pairs, we have euro pairs, and what else? Aussie pairs. Yes, we do have euro Aussie there. Let's have a look then one by one through the week. We're gonna leave the dollar alone for now, and let's check out what we've got on the other pairs, how we're developing. Pound yen, let's begin with that. We had this range, and then now we have broken out. We did not get the lower price that we were expecting, and this was our invalidation point. Instead, we have run higher, the yen continuing on its weakness on the way up to this extreme high. If we zoom right out, we have one high here at 188.8. Yeah, so we've run into that. Let's have a look on the lower time frame, and this is what we were looking at, a break. Now, since we have that break, we are clearly heading higher, and the next level would be up here. We can now delete these previous targets because we've reached them, and this is the next level to look for, and a better price, a cheaper price, and then continuing to the upside. Following the plan of what we had, and this is the plan, and we will have the invalidation point now goes to the last obvious swing low, which is this wick down here. That becomes the clear low, and then we want to get a better price. That's the idea for the pound yen. As you can see, ripped high, it did not want to go lower. We have just moved higher still, and we just adapt to what was going on. If this is a missed opportunity, so be it. It is just one of those things sometimes that happens. Okay, move on to the next one, which is New Zealand yen, and New Zealand yen was a similar outlook, similar idea, and as you can see, we wanted to go into this low, this area, and we just pipped into it, just ran this low down here, went into the zone, did not come anywhere near the invalidation. We went higher. That was the ideal scenario. We've broken structure here, the last structure, broken another structure here, which is what we wanted. And now, if you haven't made use of this opportunity, the next one, as you can probably tell what I'm going to say, is going to be the next level, the next pullback. We have now reached first target, second target, and we have the more extreme target up there. Now, that will be the next thing to look for. And we've got these breaks. Just leave them here for now, just for your reference. This range is now no longer relevant. We've now gone through it. And of course, pull back to a better price, and then continuing higher would be the idea. As you can see on the daily, got that big bullish candle engulfing all of this previous ranging movement, which we were not fazed by. If you were with me in the video couple of days ago, on Sunday, the beginning of the week, we always knew that this was a retracement phase, a range, and we wanted to break higher, move higher still. Now we've got that higher price, we've got that confirmation, if that's what you want to call it. We're looking for a possible entry, a way to engage with the market. There we are. As expected, a run lower and then heading higher still on the New Zealand yen. So that's our idea for this week, and continuing that, it looks like this may now hold and create the low of the week. For this week, this should hold, and then we're going to look to head higher just as expected. Of course, this would not be the optimal price because we had the optimal price here at the low of the week, but now let's see whether we get a continuation. The invalidation now becomes a low. Here was our break, and that's the idea. Quite clear to see. We're now clearing these highs and continuing on its merry way to the next level, which, if you look to the left here, we've got these highs, then we've got this high, and then we've got this high, and then the ultimate extreme high up here, which is the 93 point, about 94, a whole number. That's that on New Zealand yen. Let's move on to the next one, which is euro pound. Euro pound, another clearly bullish scenario. Wanted to see the continued bullishness, bearing in mind, of course, we have big pound news tomorrow, CPI, and we have euro on Friday. Let's see what we have so far. Well, so far we started the week with this bearish candle, continuing Tuesday bearish, looking for an entry to continue higher. And this is now a swing, but it is a temporary false direction, if you like, a retracement, because we are looking to capitalize on the continued move higher. And what we see now is that we have continued. We've now retraced, I should say. We could take a favorite look. Let's see where the retracement has come to. We have come to the 61.8 level. If we go down the time frame, we said that if we breach below this low, we'll invalidate, and now that means we have to reassess. And of course, it's quite obvious that we have to reassess because we have not gone higher. We had this brief wick where we did not reach higher. What does that mean? Well, we're going to look to the next zone, and the next zone is here. As you can see, very big zone, let me just point it out to you, might be a little bit clearer. Lots of significant points here. This is a big level. We've got a nice cheap price down here, and now we're going to look to see whether we have a reversal, and this in fact is a brief wick to the downside. If that is the case, and we have a retracement, a reversal down here at this area, remembering that we've got news tomorrow, so the news will be around here, London session. The idea would then become a move higher, from here, retrace, and then continue on its merry way. This low should hold in that theory. I've got these breaks already. This low should hold, and then if we get that retracement, we get that break, and we break through the last high, which would be here. That's what we want to see. Nice clean break. Pulling back, getting a bit of price, and then continuing higher. Now, if that does not hold and the news breaks right through here, we'll have to reassess again. For now, no trade, no clear picture so far. We're still in this retracement phase, so what we want to see is this whole thing, this whole phase, if you want to draw a channel. Something like so. I want to see this whole phase of the retracement end, and now this whole part to be re-establish these lows, reverse, and then continue higher. So far we have no reversal, we have no price action. We are looking at this candle as a doji possibly, but the day has not yet finished as of this video, and let's see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow should be the interesting volatile time with the news and then we go from there. Really want to see that reversal. And then we have our targets. First ones will be these highs, and then a more extreme high up here. And then the next highs up here. So we've already got a plan set in motion. We already know what we're doing. It's just a case of now waiting patiently, and waiting is a key word. It's the name of the game in trading. Let's move on to Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie was also a bullish bias after last week, and similar picture here. We have this brief pullback, brief retracement, looking to go higher. We now broke this structure here, which indicated we're going higher, and that is the case. We have our invalidation point, which is this low. We have the first zone to watch for, which is down here where we're at now. If that breaks, we go lower, invalidate. We have the second zone to watch here, and the invalidation in that case will be this low. Now let's go down a time frame and see what we've got going on. We are currently at this level. We are not created any reversal here. What does that signify? It signifies that we may likely, or more likely I should say, head lower. Let's see if we get this zone respected at this level, and then we'll go from there. Of course, there's also the possibility that we head higher, and in this case, if we breach this high, then we're looking to go higher, because we know that we are in an upward momentum. The idea is to buy, and we want to stick to that and not really sway from the idea unless we have a real reason to change the bias. Okay, let's see where it goes. For the moment, we are in a range, and once again, just like with the earlier one on the pound yen and New Zealand yen, which we didn't work out quite perfectly, but so it is. But we're going to stick to the strategy and the idea, which is a continued lower price, break out of this range, and then reverse and head higher. Now let's see that happen. If you want to have increased probabilities, you may want to wait for the daily to continue higher. If you don't catch quite the low, or I should say the low of the week, here we are. See the brief retracement, and let's see if we can get the low of the week. If you like this video, guys, click on the like button. Make sure you are subscribed with a bell notification, because you're going to receive this video every few days, 3 times a week, and keep track of the market. All right, let's move on. New Zealand CAD next, and on New Zealand CAD, it seems that we have had quite an interesting price action here. Again, looked at this pullback as being a retracement. The bias was to the upside. We had our validation, and we didn't quite reach this low, this zone. Instead, we created what looked like quite confusing price action. Very bearish day, followed by a massive reversal without any sign of reversal, but just simply shot straight up. I didn't quite get into this, may have missed this one, but so be it. That happens, right? As always, we've seen it many times, but I'm going to stick to the plan. What next? You could probably guess what's next, can't you? Let's try it out. We have a zone. We want to see a better price. And after the better price, to head higher and continue into our next targets, which on the New Zealand CAD, we're here on these highs and this high, and we've got another high. If you want to draw the next one, the high up here. The other possibilities, if we don't get this this retracement, this better price as a pullback, then we have this level here to create this idea, which we did have at the beginning of the week anyway, and it seems that we are reaching into this price point. We're already quite near it. So let's refocus and look at this zone as the retracement if we break through it. Otherwise, we have this option, which is of course the better one because we get a lower price here. The invalidation quite clearly becomes this low, which is now the low of the week from today, and then the higher price. Okay, there's that low. There's a swing, shot right through all of these structural points, heading higher just as expected, but just maybe not in the way that we expected. Either case, we are good to go and looking to continue on New Zealand CAD. All right, moving on, pound Swiss, the same thing, similar thing with pound Swiss. You can see we wanted a lower price, but instead we have not quite got that, and we have reversed. Just about went through this trend line, we've gone higher. This was the break that was expected, as you can see, and here's that break. Here's the pullback on the CPI news, and retraced, and we're heading higher. And you should have really, if you're watching it, I hope you're watching it, and saw this level or the break of the level, and that was that. And now we're reaching into the next higher prices. We've got the immediate high here to look for, and then the next highs that we drew at the beginning of the week. So that's that on pound Swiss, as expected, moving along swiftly. That's what we've got here. Right, that is the pound Swiss. Quite easy to look at, really. I mean, just as expected. So in this occasion, maybe not much luck with the New Zealand pairs, but on this one we have got it. And yeah, that's that. If you want to look at the next opportunity, here's the next level where we're at now. You may want to go to the lower time frame. That also helps. And we've got that level here. So these are the ideas. You can now get rid of that. This one now holds. And of course, can let go of this break and draw our invalidation to the next level, which is the low of the news. And we just keep doing the same thing again and again. I mean, you may be able to see that this is quite repetitive, and this is really constantly a similar thing, and trading can get quite boring in that sense. We never know how it's going to play out, so that is the interesting part. And I hope that you are observing and keeping track of the pairs. Otherwise, why are we looking at them? This is for your benefit. Right then, Aussie, New Zealand. We had the move higher. We had the pullback down. We wanted a pullback into these lows. We did not have that. Instead, we ran higher, just like the few pairs before that. We ran higher. What does that mean? Well, from here now, we're going to look at higher prices. This should now be the low of the week. So let's fix that in. And from here, as expected, we invalidated, and we have now, in fact, broken also this high. So it looks like the level will now be over here, which we did in fact pull back into. Therefore, from here, if there is not quite an entry, the best price would be another pullback to the low. If we come down, create another double low, or a kind of a W pattern, whichever way you want to call it, doesn't really matter. Nice price here. We have our new invalidation point. Is this low? and this would be the idea to head higher. Now, the second thing to watch for is the second possibility, which is we're going to invalidate this. We run into this zone, we're going to actually run into it, and if we do run into it, then we're going to look to the original bias. It may be that we get stopped out, but so be it. And if you do, then of course that's what managing your risk is for. This is the next scenario because, well, that was the original scenario. To increase the probabilities, what we want to see is a clean break of this high. We have broken multiple structures to the left. The next break would be this structure. Let's see if we get that, and otherwise this candle engulfing 1, 2 candles before that looks like the reversal point. And that's the continuation buy on the Aussie New Zealand. We have quite a distance, fair distance away to the next high, which is what we want to see. Of course, the closest high will be this first target and the next one up here. Looks like a decent one, a juicy one for this week. And that is the Aussie New Zealand. And finally, oil. What do we look at on oil? Well, we saw that we have a bias to the downside. We have now created this retracement. We were looking at this zone as the one to look for in terms of a possible entry. We are now reaching right into it, and we may be getting a reversal. If this is a valid reversal, what it will look like is a break of the last low. Then we want to see so there will be a break. Then we want to see a retracement to get a better price, and then we're going to look to continue to the downside. So it's a, how should we call this? One entry, possible entry idea would be here with this invalidation. However, if you want to see some more confirmation or you want to see some more price action, the safer entry would be a break, pull back, and continue to the downside. So far, we are creating a reversal pattern. We see this pin bar developing. Whether it closes this way or not, I do not know. However, if it does close below this open price of the previous candle, then it is a higher probability scenario to continue on the sell. And that is what we were looking at. We can now delete this zone because it's no longer needed. We went right through it, and let's wait for the oil numbers tomorrow as well. That will be a factor. We may yet again take out this high. As we were saying, that each week we want to time the setups with the news, and before the news hits is the low probability, and after the news, when you see the price action develop, that is the high probability scenario. Okay, that's that for this week. Yep, here we are. That's the daily picture on oil. We're looking at this as the retracement, and let's see if we get that continuation. Okay, dollar is continuing on its drop so far. We'll leave that alone. Let's reassess next week. But for now, thank you very much for joining me. As ever, have a good trading week the rest of your week. Watch out for the pairs on the shortlist, and I will see you in a couple of days on Thursday. Okay, bye for now, and manage your risk. Always going to leave with that. Risk management is key. Bye for now.